We continue our mission to hunt down setter mistakes, this time shining a light on one of the most essential skills, ball control in setting. We won't deal with blunders or miscommunications. That's a natural part of the game. Even when a beginner gets slapped by the ball, it's totally fine. Everyone starts somewhere. What we're focused on now is a different level, the path from an average player to a setter who still sometimes loses control of the ball because their setting engine isn't firing properly.
So what are the most common errors in the setting mechanism? First, slamming into the ball with both hands. Instead of letting the ball gently settle into the fingers and release smoothly through the wrists, the player charges into it like an axe into wood. Second, the fingers collapse behind the ball instead of opening out to the sides, the way elite setters do it. Other mistakes are tied to setting behind the head and the physical limitations of younger players. They compensate by dropping the ball down to head level and using their entire arms to push, but that's against the rules. When setting in the jump, some players jump into the ball instead of jumping first, and then setting at the peak of the jump. We already know this mistake well from previous episodes. The player doesn't stop in the ideal contact zone, doesn't jump vertically, but instead drifts sideways due to momentum, and ends up setting out of desperation.
Let's get to it. Today's investigation begins from the ground up, because most hand-related mistakes actually start with poor footwork. If your feet aren't doing their job, your hands won't save it. A simple wall drill is all it takes. Any lack of movement precision shows up like an X-ray. Now this is looking better. But wait, even experienced setters still fall into the same trap. So don't celebrate too soon. You haven't won yet. But this, now we can smile with satisfaction. So get ready. You've got a whole lot of similar drills ahead before your legs finally understand that their job is to serve as a reliable foundation for the hands. Without that support, no precise, let alone deceptive, set can exist. But don't worry. With every step, we're getting closer to the point where the hands can truly work their magic. Like these master setters, whose legs provide stability so that their hands can move freely, accurately, quickly, creatively.
Let's keep going. Even once you finally stop at the correct spot, your job isn't done yet. There's another common mistake to watch out for. Setting in the jump, but instead of rising and setting at the peak, you dive into the ball like a madman. Nope, that's not it. So fix it, fine-tune it, and back to the wall we go. We've got dozens of drills ahead, all focused on just one thing. Get to the right spot, stop, jump, and meet the ball at the peak of your jump. And how do we finish it all? Of course, with a crisp, textbook perfect set. Your path to setter mastery is wide open. Here it is. Contact with the ball exactly at the top of the jump, just as it should be. But hold on. What about the hands? That's what this whole episode is about. Exactly. In elite volleyball, we rarely see the thumb completely dropping out of the action, like it does here. But with kids, that's something we struggle with a lot. So before the hands can start speaking the same language as the brain, we've still got a lot of polishing to do.
First of all, we often see poor flexibility in the thumb and index finger. These two function like a tiny catapult, launching the ball into space. But if they don't work properly, the ball travels lazy and lifeless. Another frequent mistake, fingers collapsing behind the ball instead of opening outward to the sides, the way pros do it in the game. One common issue is that the player doesn't lower the ulnar edge of the hand, pinky side, during the set, and that's a big problem. With beginners, this is easy to correct. But once this habit takes root in technically advanced setters, it's often too late to fix. The ulnar edge of the palm must be angled horizontally during contact. No exceptions.
Next up, that good old impact mistake, slamming into the ball instead of rolling it out with a smooth wrist motion. And finally, the eternal coaching facepalm. When kids push the ball with their entire arms instead of using the holy trio, forearm, wrist, and fingers.
This part deserves special attention. It's basically why we wrote this whole chapter. We start nice and easy, just simple throwing. Then we ramp it up with the two-finger drill. Looks innocent, but trust us, it's a technical ninja. And of course, we include self-set drills, setting the ball to oneself. That's our secret coaching weapon, because players don't even realize how it forces them to tilt the wrist and keep the ulnar edge of the hand level. It's a drill that teaches and corrects all on its own.
In training, we often mix self-sets upward and forward, like a perfect volleyball cocktail. And we constantly remind players, wrist, wrist, wrist. Wrist flexibility is the key to everything. Soft touch, precise targeting. Whoever has a springy wrist sets like a boss. And we test that wrist flexibility from every angle and in every position. The goal? To embed the movement in the body like a secret code, so it runs automatically without conscious thought. Because the mind should be free during setting, free to think about tactics, deception, and volleyball wizardry. Just like the true masters of the craft, women and men alike.
And then there's one more tricky discipline, the back set. Boys often don't have enough strength for it yet, so they get creative or desperate. And here's another issue. The wrists are stiff and lack flexibility. But don't worry. Both problems can be managed. It's not rocket science, just needs patience, attention, and the occasional firm push from a coach.
And yes, we're back to flexibility again. What worked for front sets also applies to back sets. It just hurts a bit more. So we toss in another round of drills, small ones, big ones, stationary, and on the move, as long as the wrist behaves like a spring and sends the ball obediently and precisely where it needs to go. And now, we're finally reaching the finish line here too. If a 12-year-old boy can already manage a back set like this, even if the ball still slides a bit, there's no shame. Once his muscles catch up, he might deliver sets with the elegance of Maestro Luciano De Cecco.
And one final yet essential remark. The contact with the ball doesn't happen above the head, as is often claimed, but slightly in front of the body. The path to mastery has begun, and we move forward because we're headed in the right direction.